Hello and welcome to Tekie Website Hosting. In this tutorial you're going to learn a little bit about how to use your WordPress website. Now before we get into the details, let me show you a quick little demo about how easy it is so you don't have to spend thousands of dollars on website technical professionals. So we're going to have a look at this web page here. It's for a software company, software business, okay? And let's say we want to modify the about page. So we'll have a look here. Okay, that looks fine. It's a decent website. It's pretty nice. Let's change this section here. Let's say we don't like this line here because it's all capitalized and the rest of the website isn't. And let's say we want to add a little piece of information underneath here about a tech convention we were at. So we will log into the dashboard. Now I'm not going to explain very much, and yes, the dashboard or the administration back end, as we call it, is going to look maybe confusing if you're not used to WordPress, but we're going to go through that through the rest of this video. I just want to show you really quickly how you can make changes yourself without having to pay any consultants to do it for you. Okay, so we're going to log in. Go to our login link and I'm going to find my login credentials. Oops, that is not it. Just to let you know, this Remember Me button is standard on all WordPress logins, and what it means is keep me logged in. So if you then close this browser window and you don't log out of your administration, you want to make more changes, then you go back to your admin link, this one I just typed in, you won't have to log in again. It may time out after a while, but otherwise if that's not checked, then it will time out much sooner, and then you'll have to log in again. So if you're making changes to your website for your business every day and adding content, then you know you'd always be checking that little box there. So anyway, let's continue. Okay, so we can see there's a lot going on in this page, but we just want to change that one piece of content. I said we'll show you how quick it is. It's the About Us page. Under the page content types, we can see that you may not know this yet, but this website uses what's called a visual editor. It's not the standard WordPress Gutenberg or block editor as what's in the current versions, although we can switch to it. Okay, so we'll find the section that we want to modify. Remember, it's this line here. We don't like the fact that it's all capitalized, so we'll change that. Don't like that mistake. And what did we do there? Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now we clicked save, but it's actually not updated in the database. We have to click the update button to do that. We also can have a preview button to see what that change might look like before we commit it. So we can see here that looks much better. All right, but we still want to add some other things underneath here. So let's close this preview window and find that little section there. So that is this section. So we'll add a row right down from here. All right, so let's add a little text block, and we'll say we'll add a nice little image. Grab this one here, and we will align it in the center. The same with this text. And let's actually make this a heading. let's save that. Let's have a look to see how it previews. So that's our update. Let's do one little extra thing, and then we will save that. So we'll edit this block. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Okay, and we're going to add a little bit of a, put the padding in the right place, and then preview the page. Again, I'm doing this fast. There we go. So now we've got this little space at the bottom. We could also space that out a little bit. We could bold it if we want. We could add and change that space a little bit so that it's all nice and clean. And let's do those minor little things. So we'll do that. Save this, and we'll add some of the padding here. Actually, it's not in that section, is it? It's this here, this empty space. It's 15. We'll make it 25, and I think that's what we wanted to do. So I'm going to update it, and then we can have a look at our website. Check those changes on the About page, so we can see. So now we've changed the spacing. We've added this graphic with this little statement here. I didn't bold it like I said I was going to, and that's nice. Let's say I'm really happy with that. Okay, it just took a couple of minutes. It was very quick. So now I'm going to log out, and we can look at the page again without that top bar that only displays when you're logged in, and the administration back end. Okay, so now we can see how clean that page looks. Very nice. Okay, so that's how quick it is. I'm going to close that down now. And now we'll get into the rest of the tutorial. Okay, so we're going to go through these points here. What is WordPress? WordPress is a publishing platform. It's considered to be a CMS. That stands for Content Management System. It allows you to edit your content, do design tweaks, functionality improvements, add extra code from plugins from the community of folks that provide those, and without touching any code or doing anything highly technical or really technical at all. It's just a matter of getting familiar with the user interface. Okay, now there is one thing to note, and that is that no version of WordPress or no one website is gonna have the same look and feel, or rather be exactly the same to edit content when you're in the back end as the administrator or content editor. Okay, and the reason for that is because a content management system typically is more like a framework that you build on top of. So it's going to have its base functionality and its base look and feel, and then you'll add the templating, the theming of it, the style, visual look, and then with that you might need some additional custom content types. Okay, so maybe instead of having posts pages, you're going to have posts, pages, and services, and that's going to be a different content type, or client showcase. That'll be a different content type. Okay, so so for that reason, when you build on the base layer of the content management system, in this case WordPress, it really changes the look in the administration. So what we might offer in the future is, for a small fee, for anyone that is struggling to connect the dots from the tutorial videos, we could log into yours and create tutorial videos just for your specific website. Okay, that is possibly an option. So if something like that would benefit you, please send us a note through the support contact page. Okay, so that's a little bit about what WordPress is. Publishing platform. You can have multiple users. It's got a nice user interface that you log into, so there's no hard coding. The example of hard coding, if we switch to this other window here, is using a code editor like this one that your documentation file was created in, and manually changing the text, and then going into a piece of code, and then manually changing how the fonts and padding gets displayed in the page, and then this one static file also references 6 other JavaScript, another type of software language, those files, and also a cascading style sheet CSS file. And each one of those is sent to the server from your local folder in an FTP client. That stands for File Transfer Protocol, to the folder on the remote hosting server. But don't worry about it, you don't need to mess with these. So we're going to close these down. Okay, and go back to our other page. Okay, so now we know what a content manager is, and WordPress is either the leading one or it's right up there with them. Okay, it also uses databases, so there is optimization that can be implemented to make dynamic content management based websites load faster. Okay. Again, we will be in 2021 providing a business training tutorial video series. It'll be a small monthly fee or a fixed yearly fee, and you're welcome to sign up for that. And paying members of that service can request any tutorial videos, and we'll put them up as we have time to help you out. So let's move on. How do we log into our WordPress website? Well, there's always, as you know from our prior video, there's always links and abilities from the cPanel, and then you've got the standard WordPress links. Let's go to our documentation. So if you go to the Tekie homepage, under support, click documentation, you'll see the documentation for the standard hosting package. On the left menu, click WordPress CMS. For those of you that purchased a website as well as your base hosting, this is information specifically for you. Please read through it, especially regarding the maintenance, and also have a look at this website maintenance notice. Very important stuff, so take a look at those. Now coming back, you're going to see this video you're watching is always going to be here right now. That is just a placeholder video, but when you find this file, it's going to be this video that you are watching. And underneath it, you've got some information on the links that are the standard links for accessing your admin from WordPress. We will often, if there's no code conflicts, we will change that URL to your domain /T2 login, and we do that just as a very, very minor. It's really because we're a bit OCD here on the security, and it's just a little tiny security tweak. That's all that is. These are absolutely just fine. They're just as secure really these days with how WordPress is coded, but just a little bit extra. So depending on your site, you might have this might be the URL, your domain /that, whether it's yourdomain.com, biz.co, or as we use .io /T2 login. And if that doesn't work, these two will work. They're both standard within WordPress. Okay, and again, there is the login one-click button and ability to look at your database credentials associated with the WordPress website, all from the cPanel link. Okay, so what else do we need to know? We need to know that not all login pages look the same. There are themed ones, and there is the base WordPress one. This is an install of WordPress, and it has no content and no custom theming. It is just out the box as it comes from WordPress. Okay, so it's okay, it's fine, it works great. But we like to brand you login screens for your business and make them look a little bit slicker. So this just feels good if you've got customers logging in. Sometimes there's functionality where customers log into your website for membership sections or shopping carts and things, and also staff members that are writing your content. It just feels good and better to log into a branded page. Okay, some other examples of our branded login screens are like this. Okay, so so that's what that is. Your login screen might look different depending on the tutorial video you're following. Okay, so what else do we need to know? We need to get a little bit familiar. Like I said, this is not really technical. Most of the things that you'll update in the admin panel, there are some technical things, but that will be in future tutorial videos, and that is to do with updating software that's out of date. When we look at the dashboard, I'm going to give you some warnings about how you go about doing that. You shouldn't just click the update buttons because your website can break. So I'll go into a little explanation about that. So really this video is to get familiar with the layout, the basic functionality of WordPress itself, your primary content types, some of the built-in functionality for layout, widgets, customization, theme options. Theme options is not built in, that's specific to additional frameworks and templating that's been developed for your website itself, or if you're using premium or customized themes. There's user management, so you can give staff members access for blogging content or updating any of the website itself. So that's what we'll look at, and also talk about the plugins and basic settings. So that is quite a lot to go through, and here's one analogy. One analogy is that websites today are all like customized cars. So while they may share the same chassis, when you need to work on them, the look and feel is often very different because they've been modified so much. Okay, so here is a base install of WordPress. There is no theming, no templating, no plugins, no extra frameworks, no software mods, nothing. So it's just a plain standard blogging platform, basically, not suitable for business. And this is what's called the default 2021 theme that also ships with WordPress itself as the software. Over here is this is a freemium. That's a free theme that can be upgraded to a premium one, and it's a shopping cart theme that uses, I believe, software called WooCommerce. But it also has blog pages and other content in it as well. It's not been optimized for speed, so some of the things might load a little slow. So let's see how we modify stuff in this. I'm actually already logged in. How do we know we're logged in? Because when we look at the top of the screen, we can see we've got our admin bar. Okay, we're not logged into the other one. So let's actually log out. And you can see, again, this has a themed login window. Okay. So we're going to have a look at these next to each other because we want to show you how it looks once we're logged in, so you can see the difference. Okay. And now this one here, to login. Okay, so I'm going to show you these side by side, and then we're going to work a little bit through this one that's got a lot more going on. That's the live website, because that's closer to what you're going to have if you're following along from your documentation packet. Okay, because this video isn't for someone that's doing a base install and then setting up everything from scratch. We will provide that in other videos. Okay, so first of all, we can see. Actually, let's just make these side by side on the screen here. Okay, so first of all, we can see that the dashboards pages are very similar. Okay, you will often have notifications with like these little dismiss icons based upon different things that you do with the plugins that are installed in your particular website. Okay, or if you do certain things, let's say with like your caching software for optimizing speed, you might get a notification pop up or something, or if a piece of software is out of date, and these little red notification numbers here, okay, this is typically for updates. This one's for setting configurations that were never set, because there's a search engine optimization plugin where you can tweak pages, meta tags and things like that for better search placement. These plugins can be actually a bit confusing and complex to use, But anyway, that notification there on this one is just letting you know that there are some settings that need to be changed. This one round here on the plugins is letting you know that there's updates, and that's pretty much why that number 4 matches the number 4 update here. But of course, sometimes your updates might be more. It might be might say 5 there and only 4 in the plugins, because maybe the WordPress software itself is pending an update. So okay, so let's have a look at the big difference. So what do we see? We see that in the raw install, it's got a much simpler menu, very few options compared to a live website. And that's because, like I said, you've got to think of WordPress as sort of like a base layer of software that, like the structure that you build on top of. So we've got a lot of extra software that's integrated in this theme and plugins in this version, so that it can be that full shopping cart. So again, we can see the difference. So one thing at the top of the page, if you hover under the domain, the website name, you've got a little drop down, and you can right click on view the site and pull it into another tab, browser tab. Okay. So here it's quite evident why there is so much more in the settings, options, and post types for this website on the right. It's because this is a fully built out website, and the other one really isn't. It's very basic. Okay, but but this one is useful, so we're just going to drag this to the full screen, and then we'll go back to the other one. This one is useful for looking at those primary built-in content types. So let's talk about posts. Posts is always the top of the list. Well, this is you can't re-sort these, but when you add in plugins and extra functionality, things may get added in between these menu categories here. Okay, so we're going to go through each of them from the top to the bottom, and I'll just tell you a little bit about each page. So first of all, this is the dashboard, and that gives you a bit of a summary about what's going on with your website, such as how many people have posted comments, how many posts and pages that you've got live, what your installed theme name is, what version of WordPress you're running. In the latest release of WordPress, you've got this little health status meter, and you can go to a screen that tells you about the health of the website by clicking on this link here. I'm not going to click on anything until we've gone through the full screen. Okay, so it gives you a little notice after it's been updated to this version or freshly installed, and you can dismiss this notice so that it never appears again. Okay, but I like to keep it there, or maybe you might like to keep it there, because it's got these quick links, so you can quickly write a blog post and add this. Isn't needed. You don't want to add an about page if your website's already designed and you've got content up and running. Okay, the same with this, and that's why you can dismiss this. But there's other actions that are good quick links, like manage your widgets. Just click on the view your website button, takes you straight there. Of course, as we logged in, we see the top bar that visitors won't see. We can go back to the dashboard if we go to the website name and just hover there, and then we can just click dashboard. Okay, so we can manage menus, widgets, which are important for layout content, like typically widgets are used in sidebars and footer sections to get the different information there. So that's useful. You've got a quick draft box here where you can start typing, creating content. Or a post, like a blog post or article post. I prefer to go right into the actual content category on the left, especially once you've got a live website like with more functionality like this one that we're going to look at in a minute, because this may not create the draft content where you actually want it to be. so therefore I don't recommend using that actually. You can move your windows around. You've got that option. If you go to the top of the screen, you can hide, or if something isn't displaying, you might have something that's not checked, so you can then check the checkbox and have it displayed in the dashboard. So the dashboard's like your quick snapshot view of what's going on, recent activity, news from WordPress and events, things like that. Okay, let's go on to actually editing and creating content. So the first thing is posts. So posts is a type of content category that traditionally was used for blog posts. Okay, so there'd be the blog post. Typically it has information on the page. So I clicked on it to edit it, and it's showing you the new Gutenberg block editor. And when you first start using it, it gives you a little intro that tells you how you can lay out pages with the various blocks. The idea behind this is that visual editor plugins have become extremely popular because they've made WordPress extremely powerful for business use. And WordPress, the creators know that that they're very popular, and they're trying to build similar functionality in, so that so that the editing experience is more universal. The only problem with that today is that their block editor is a bit lacking. It's not as well developed. It can be a little confusing to use, and sometimes it's difficult to get the styling layout that you exactly want, which is why you might use a premium visual editor plugin that you pay for, or that's bundled with a premium theme. So anyway, it gives you some information. We can close that down. It gives you a bit of a live view of the page, and then you can go in here and here is another paragraph, and we could update that. So let's go back. So you see, when you go to the post category, and again, posts on a live business website, what's in the post category might be an article about your industry. It might be a service page. You might have your services under your posts with different categories of service. It might be for clients, about description of client pages. So again, the flexibility is huge. So one thing that you're going to be doing if you've purchased a website that someone else has made or we've provided for you is you're going to be going through and looking through the specifics of yours to recognize what content type is linked to what content on your actual web page. So again, if we look at this other one, and I did not mean to go back and forth like this, so if we look in the other tab, here's our page, and if we click on this here, we get to another page. So this to me looks like a blog page or an article page, because you've got the sidebar with some standard sidebar functionality. There's no text written there, it's just this little banner. So if we wanted to edit this, we would have to figure out what content type that is in our administration. Now looking down here, we see the post types and a lot more going on. So we will go through this in a second, and with the demo page that I have sitting here. Okay, so right now let's go back to the other one, and so we're looking at the first type of content. It's post types. Okay, so these are things that are typically not fixed, like in the menu bar, like home, about, services. Whatever you have in your menu bar typically won't be of the posts content type. Okay, so it'll be blog posts or articles, maybe service pages, things like that, but not the typically not the root page that's in the top menu, like an about page, for example. Okay, so again, you click on the page, and if there's no visual editor installed, and you've got the new version of WordPress, you'll have this block type editor. Okay, so you click on a section, left click, and you can change certain things about it, like we can bold a word, we can add images, we can duplicate the whole block and copy. We can change this over here so that it's actually not a paragraph but a heading, right? And then we could add another paragraph where we start typing, and actually we can make this a list, a bulleted list. Okay, so we can do things like that within our block editor. And on the right side, you've got some configuration settings. So pretty much in WordPress, in the new version, and I say new as of December 2020, version 5.6, but also this Gutenberg editor block system has been around for a while now. You see on the right side, you've got the settings panel, which you can minimize by clicking on the little gear icon, and you've got settings for each block. So each one of these are individual blocks, content blocks. You've got your title at the top, which is reflected usually in what's called a permalink. So permalinks are important, that they have what you want in there for search engine optimization. How is the permalink used? It's used as an extension after a / to the address in the address bar in the URL for this web page content. Okay, so if we're viewing this, we don't need to go to preview. We can go to the page and we can click on this article here, or this blog post, and we can see up at the top our permalink starts. Well, it's the whole link, but you can see from the domain name itself you've got a /, and you can change in the settings of WordPress if it displays where it's date stamped and it's in subfolders by date, or if it's just or if it doesn't have that and it keeps it very simple, where the permalink is just the name of each content page itself. Okay, so you have that option, and you've got to go through settings to change that, and I can show you later on where that is. Okay, that's kind of just a preference really, and also it does come into play, like I said, how this displays for search engine optimization purposes. So so we see that when we do edit a page, it takes us out of the main menu system of WordPress, and as I didn't update this, it's giving me a warning. It's letting me know that if we leave the page, my changes will be lost. So let's stay on the page and update it, and then we can go here and we can reload it, and we can see that that's instantly reflected. So again, that's the beauty of a content management system like WordPress, is that you can do that without having to edit HTML files and uploading them to servers and such. And you know, not only that, while we're here, let's go back in, and then let's add another. Here we'll add another content block, and we'll call it. We'll do. Can't really do a gallery unless I put in a bunch of images. So I guess yes, let's do that. We'll put a gallery block in here. We will upload to our media library. So I'm going to drag some images from off screen. And we'll create a new gallery, insert, and update. And then we'll go and reload our page. And we can see that those images display nicely in this sort of grid pattern here. It's called, I believe, a masonry display, because they're not all the same size. Okay, so so again, it's nice and easy. What's not easy is building out a website that has the look and feel and functionality for your business. And what's not easy, or what takes time rather, but is easy, is building out, you know, all of your content, because the more content you have over time is what's going to keep you ahead of the competition in search engine results, which is then going to lead to direct revenue and profit for your business. Okay, so And that takes time because you know, pretty much all businesses are doing this today. You know, in the past, businesses would have to pay more for a bigger Yellow Pages advert. Today, they've got to have someone or themselves constantly adding content to their website, hitting certain keywords and such, and maybe getting backlinks and interacting with people online so that there's a web of links from other websites and comments and posts, or social media going back to your site, and vice versa. So there's all sorts of different strategies, but basically it requires work. So you know, there are content creators out there that don't design websites or host websites, and they provide copywriting and content writing services. You know, we can do that as well, but it can get very expensive very quickly, and a lot of companies will outsource offshore, so then you can maybe have grammatical errors and things that don't read quite right, and that's what companies that charge lower price points will often do. So it's always best to be in control of your own content, or train someone up in-house, or have someone that you pay and you manage that billing, and you know, and you manage how they do their work, and they can be outsourced. So you can have that, and they can have a login where they can't change the functionality of your website, because you can give them just under the user section, which we'll get to, you can give them permissions just to create draft content that then you would go in and edit and approve, things like that. Let's see. So we've got our post types, which are often blog posts, articles, or could be other types of content like your service pages. If you're not using a design on WordPress where you've got custom, let's say, service type of a page. So let's also look. We notice under post types that not only can we add a new one, both from this button here and from the menu list on the left, but we've also got categories and tags. So we can create a list of initial tags and also categories, and then you can see here that this is uncategorized. So let's say you have a business that provides engineering services, then your categories might be, you might not want uncategorized ever to be there and displayed, so you might want or let's say you provide coaching services, so you might have coaching as a category, and you give it a slug. It's going to, oops, if we could spell, but it's going to create the slug. The slug is a bit like an identifier field, and it can't have spaces in it or special characters, so it removes those when it creates the slug. And if there isn't a duplicate, it's just going to use this word down here. If there's a space in it, it'll put a dash between the words. Okay, and then we could give it a description, and you know, oftentimes this isn't seen and the slug isn't seen, it's just for behind the scenes stuff, but sometimes we can go to a category blog page, like over here we can see underneath that post here, hello world, it's telling us it's uncategorized. If we click on uncategorized, it'll give us not just a list of posts in that category in a blog format, but it'll give us a little information about it. So if we've got stuff filled out in the description in our administration, so we might say, so this is for coaching, it's for new type, and then we'll go back and we'll change the category that first post is in. So we'll just say coaching and blog posts provide great information about our services to help business owners succeed. And of course I'm a poor typing speller. Owners, there we go. So we'll add that category. We can see it pops up on the right here. We'll go back to our one and only post. We can do a quick edit, and we can change it from uncategorized to coaching, and we can update. And now we go back to our live website. We can reload it, and boom, yeah, that no longer exists under that category. Just remember, we went to category uncategorized. So let's just go back to the home page, and we'll look at the same. We'll go to the same post, and we'll go underneath it, and now we can see it's categorized as coaching. And if we click that, obviously in the settings for the category page, it is allowing this little summary to display. So it's got that description there. Our coaching blog provides, all our great info about the services to help your business. So that's in there. Now, granted, this looks ugly. It's not a live functional website, like I said, but the principles all apply, no matter how nice the design is. And we'll see that on the more complicated one when we get to it. But what's nice about this one is it's removed all the extra functionality clutter. Okay, so and again, we could create a whole bunch of tags and give the tags a description, each one, or in our actual blog or article post, we could do a quick edit and we could add some tags. So we could type in coaching and just separate them by commas, and it'll create tags for those, and then you can use those in tag clouds or different ways under your article posts and in sidebar widgets and things like that. And sometimes it can help with search engine optimization as well. So coaching and business, we can put in there. I think just those two would be fine. Updated, now you can see you got those two. If we reload that page, we should see those somewhere displayed. So there you go. So if you had other articles that people were interested in to do with coaching, then they could click this tag and then they would get a blog sort of page list breakdown of all those articles, and if you've got little head featured images, it'll show the images. So however your design of your page shows that, that's how they'll come up. Okay, so that's the post category. So moving on to media. Media is all the images that get displayed in any other kind of content page. It's all kept in what's called the media section or the media library. And you can click on the images that are there. You can do basic image editing to resize. Be careful playing around with that, because it might affect if you're doing it for a new post or a new web page that you're publishing, and this image is already displayed on another page, it might change its size for both, is what I'm saying. So, but one thing that we can do here is for search engine optimization, is for when people hover their cursor over an image in a page, like let's go back to this one. So if we hover over this image, nothing displays, I don't think, and there also is no metadata behind the scenes for search engines to rank and do their keyword analysis of your website to give you a better search result and more traffic. So so even though this information or some of it won't ever be displayed or come up on the screen, for optimization purposes it's good to put stuff in. So we could say here we provide video tutorials to help your business sales, to help your sales goals. And then caption could be sales business training. And alternative text also might be video tutorial. And then we can save that just by every time we click outside the box. We used to have a save button, but the newer version of WordPress, you saw the little save thing that popped up there. So if we close that down, we click on a different one, you can see there isn't info there. If we go back, that information is still there. So that helps, and again, that's why search engine optimization, when you're paying for those services, can cost a lot of money, because people have to go into all of your content pages and all of your media and tag everything with little pieces of information that they then provide that either through scripts or plugins, or just the fact that they've entered it itself. And then the crawl bots for the search engines will be reading that and entering it into information for your website in their system to decide how they want to rank you. Okay, so this is your media library. You've got two views. You've got a list view, okay, that gives you some additional information and allows you to select multiple images at once, so you can do a bulk action like delete. Okay, or you've got your grid view that we started off with. You can also add images to the media library. Click on this and then it gives you the option to upload more, or like you saw, you can upload from any time you're making any kind of new content. So let's go on to the next post category, and that is pages. Pages are typically the fixed content. Now it may change over time for your business, but if we look at this this website here, the fixed content would be typically in your top menu bar. So the Contact Us page, a primary shop category page, an About page under the Home section. You know, those are going to be in that category of post types. They're going to be in the pages. Okay, that's how they're designed, and typically they're not going to have comments activated. Okay, like a blog or an article might have comments, because you want that customer or viewer engagement on some post types, because the more engagement gives you more traffic and more, you know, search visibility for your website. So that's why we do like to have comment sections, but you don't want them on a contact page or an about page or a services page for your business, right? Or in the case for this, you might not want them on a product page, because you know, you want to define rather a review section so that they can leave reviews, and then that's useful again for searches and your customers. But you wouldn't want a whole lot of comments under a product that someone might purchase. Okay, so but if you go to a blog page, then you do want that engagement, because it does help get more traffic to your website, and the type of traffic that you want. Okay, so continuing now, we can add a new page. Again, it's very similar to the post section. In fact, it's the same as the post section until you start using visual editor plugins. So we can add a new page, and we will here, and we can edit an existing page. Okay, so if we edit the existing page, again we see the same Gutenberg block editor of WordPress, and you've got options on the right. So for each block you can change certain settings, including some color settings for your fonts and things. Okay, and you can even drop cap the first letter. That's built into WordPress now. In the past you used to have to code that manually or with plugins. Okay, let's see, what else do we have? We've also got settings for the whole page itself, so you can switch between these two. And the whole page itself, again, you can change the publishing date, so you can have a future publishing date to drip content. You can change your permalink for search engine optimization. You know, that's the after the domain name, what's after the / in the address bar for the URL. You can add a featured image. In fact, we'll add a featured image to this page. Sorry for clicking really quick. I will show you that again real slow. Left click will replace, and then it'll bring up your media library. You'll be able to upload an image again, or just drag from a file browser onto this page and it'll upload also. We can select the image we want. If you want for search engine optimization, you could change this or add information here, and then we'll set that featured image. So so you've got page settings and block settings. Now I'm going to update this page, and you've also got some other options here. If you look at this little option dotted menu at the side, so you can also have you can edit this whole page in a code editing window, where you can manually type in HTML code for certain visual changes. If you wanted to manually change font color or size or things like that. You can also, you've got a block manager, so you can select what types of blocks you're allowed, or someone posting to this type of updating this content, what they've got access to. You know, if something's missing, you can check the box, or vice versa to hide it if you never want to have if you never want to add code to the page and that's clutter for you, then you can remove that. And that removes from, like up here, if we're going to add new content, these are all your content types. like you can see, you can embed a YouTube video or a Twitter post or all sorts of stuff. Okay, so those are content block types within a post page, right, or a content post category type. So here we're on an actual page, and these are content blocks. And then you can create, you can take multiple blocks and create your own patterns of blocks. So you've got like pre-configured content for different types of pages or articles or service pages, for example. So you can also create those things, and certain themes, like this one built into WordPress, has certain ones already pre-made for you, although they're not particularly nice looking. Okay, so we've looked a little bit about our settings and options, and also on this option link here on the very bottom it says preferences. So again, you can look through these preferences, and sometimes you might need to change some of these things. Okay, so this is a sample page, and like I said, we don't want any comments on it. So document settings, and choose what displays in the panel. So discussion is displayed in the panel. Okay, maybe that we've got custom field types. Well, they're not displayed right now, so let's add that in there as well. Maybe we'll enable and reload. Okay, so let's see on the right under the page settings. Let's just have a look at this discussion to make sure that no one can leave comments. So that's good. Comments are not allowed on this because it's not a blog post or an article. It's like a permanent page, like it would be your about page, except it's just a sample. Okay, so let's update it, and we'll go back to the home, back to start, and of course that page is not displaying because there's no menu. So I will show you a little bit of the basic menu functionality. So we're going to jump ahead. So before we jump ahead, so that this page can be displayed, I'm just going to show you what happens when you click an Add New button, whether you're in Posts or Pages, or it's the same as the Add New link on the menu bar on the left. So just left click it, and again it brings you into a blank content editing Gutenberg editor page, where you can add the blocks and the title and change the settings just like we were doing. So we're just going to go back, we're not going to save anything there, but we want this to display with a menu. So let's go to Appearance, and under Appearance we can go down to Menus, and that's where our menu management is, and we can see that there's no menus here. Create your first menu below. So we're going to type in the menu name, and then we'll create it. You won't have to do this because you'll have one already created, so we'll just say main menu. Okay, and then we're going to add that sample page to the menu by selecting it from the left, clicking Add to Menu like I just did. We'll leave it all as default, and then we have to save the menu. And now we've got our first menu, we can decide where its location is displayed on the web page. So there's a primary and a secondary menu location. Typically the primary is at the top, your main menu. The secondary might be a sub-menu at the top, or it might be in the footer section or somewhere else defined, based upon the theme that you're using. Okay, so we'll put it in the primary position, we'll save the changes, and then we'll go back to our live website, and we'll reload it, and look at that. All of a sudden we've got the title to our page at the top, you know, like your branding. You can replace this with a logo image if you wanted. You've got the subtitle, and then on the top right, this is where if we added more menu options, they would all be displayed there. So let's go back to our menu, and let's add posts. So now we've got that one article or blog post, and we've got our one permanent main page, and we'll save that, and those are both accessible from the menu if we reload the page. Okay, so Hello World is our wonderful first post, and our sample page is right there with the image that we added as the featured image. It's displaying it at the top. Okay, and let's go back into the administration and continue. So we've gone posts, media, pages, and comments is the next built-in post type. So if we go to comments, we can see that there is one sample comment, and we can see who it's from, and we can decide if we think it's spam. We could flag it as spam. It'll get removed from being displayed. And remember, the comments are under this blog post. So if we scroll down, of course, we can see that comment. We can reply to it. And if we go back to our administration, we can reply to it from within here. We could edit it. Let's say they've posted a link and we don't like the fact that they're marketing or advertising, but we don't see them as spam, just maybe an overzealous customer, but we don't want to necessarily advertise a competitor. So we might go in there and edit their comment. So again, we can edit it, flag it as spam, and again, when we edit it, we might want to remove the person's email address or personal web link, especially if it's in conflict with our business and sending traffic away. So what you'll find is once you start getting a lot of traffic to your website, you will start getting spam comments, and some of those are done by people promoting them, self-promoting, and some of them will be from spam bots that just blanket the internet with bogus comments in order to drive traffic to malware links or affiliate sales programs and such, including some things that are not safe for work. So administering your comment section is important, and implementing some sort of spam or malware protection within the WordPress administration is also recommended, and that might be in the form of Google's reCAPTCHA, which requires a bit of technical expertise because you need to implement APIs, application interface tokens, or it might be as simple as a Kismet, which is now a paid subscription service provided by WordPress itself, and that can also be a bit fiddly to set up and have fully running. But there are some really good options out there that really reduce spam to a minimum, that protects your site and also the experience for your customers. Okay, so that's just a little bit about comment administration. And again, if we had a whole load, you might have 1,000 or 20 comments or whatever in total. You can select them all that's displaying on one page at a time. There'll be a maximum number that displays per page, and then you can go to the next page. So you could do a bulk action on all of them, to unapprove, mark as spam, move to trash, whatever. And when you do have them in spam, they're not deleted right away. You can go back in and change them, and it's the same when they're in trash, they're not deleted right away. So that's your choice, right? So that's your comment section. It's pretty straightforward. So the next thing that's built into WordPress is appearance, and we had a look at the menu part of the appearance. So now we're into changing layout and functionality and settings of your website. Okay, so these first categories here, this was for content, and again, when we look at our live website with all its additional functionality, we've got more content types. So we've got posts, media, pages, comments, just like we did before, but we also have site reviews, we have products, we have what else? I think that's it on this one. I think it's just products, site reviews, the additional content types, and the products are all from a specific shopping cart plugin called WooCommerce. That's, again, it's a freemium piece of software, so it's open source free, but then if you want premium features, then you can pay. Okay, so it is today a very popular shopping cart plugin for WordPress. So let's see, so now we've gone through the content types, and now we're on the functionality and design features that we can use. So the first one is themes. So now you will already have your built-in theme or your paid theme that we provided for you, and there might be still the default themes that come with WordPress. So you can see when you install WordPress from scratch, it has 3 themes in: the 2019, the 2020, and the new 2021. Now you can recode these themes. You could use them as a base template if you are a web developer. Okay, but for someone starting from scratch, it's going to take you a really long time to make a nice website out of one of these. So pretty much we don't use them. Now you do need one. It's preferable to keep one, even if you've got our theme that we've installed for you, or a custom theme that you've bought or paid someone to make for you. So, and the reason for that is that software updates, if there's a conflict and your website breaks, temporarily it will default back to the base theme that's bundled with WordPress. Okay, even though it's not active, even though it might not be active today while everything's running, in the future there might be a software update that breaks the theme, and in that case, like I said, WordPress tries to default back to what it knows works so that you will regain access to your site, both in the administration and also you can still see it displaying something on the front end. But we don't, in this case, we don't need these both of these other two, so we'll just delete them both. Okay, so that's as easy as that is. So we can go in. Actually, I won't delete them both. I've showed you. Just click on it. It's not active. You can delete it. We can also activate it. So we've activated it. We can go back to our live page, reload it, and it's got a completely different look. Now, this won't exactly work when you've paid for a premium service. If we've designed a website for you or installed a premium theme for you, again, the reason why you can't just swap themes in and out when you've got a more complicated website is because there's a lot of customization. You've got custom widgets that display information in specific areas of the site. So if you just swap this theme out here, then pretty much I would say there's up to like 60% of the information just won't display. And the things that do display won't look right. They'll be higgledy-piggledy all over the place. So so it's not that easy just to swap to an updated theme. It takes a lot of work on the back end to move around all of those content types and rearrange them so that they display in the correct areas. Okay, so so let's move on to the next thing that's built into WordPress, Customize. Customize gives you some basic options to change the look and feel of your website. So the site identity, we can change the title. So we could say business coach, right? And then over here we could say help your business grow, right? And then we'll publish that. We could add a logo. In fact, we don't have one. Let's see if I've got a little image file that would work as a logo. I'm looking in my folder off screen. Well, we will use this. It's just an arrow. So we'll skip cropping. Alright, so we've got a little logo at the top of the page now, and we can also decide that we don't want to display the tagline. So now it's just the logo is displaying, right? So we can tweak little design things from this customization menu, and you should be able to as well also, because more modern themes are utilizing this functionality of WordPress. Again, we'll come back to our complicated live website, and under appearance, if we select customize, we'll see if we've got more options than it is just here. So we do. We do have more options to edit certain things from this customization menu. Okay, but we're going to close it down because we're going to go on to another section. So let's just we'll republish that just in case I changed anything else, and we'll close this down. So continuing under appearance, now we can go to widgets. Widgets are quite very useful and quite important. I'm not going to show you widgets on this page. It's going to be better to demonstrate widgets on this live shopping cart. So let's go down to the bottom of this page, and we can see in the footer section it's representative of, it's pretty standard for a lot of businesses. Got a little branding info, some info about payments, how to find them, locations, maybe hours, and download their apps, right? So this footer section typically is defined with different columns, and each column has a widgetized area where you can choose what content goes in those. So that's pretty much the original primary use of widgets was down here and also in the sidebar for blog posts. Okay, so we'll edit the widgets in this version. Even though it gets very busy, we'll show you how that looks. So now you can see on the left are the items that you can add, the information or content items that you can add, or different functionality from plugins. And then you can add this from the drop down, and you can choose which widget area it goes into. Now the bigger website and the more complicated a website you have, you'll have different widgetized areas based upon different types of content pages. So in the shopping cart you might have a specific set of widgets, in the footer you'll have a certain set, maybe in fixed pages, and maybe in blog posts, maybe in your service category of custom post types. If that's the case, it'll be up here, like your site reviews, you know. So you might have specific widgets, but we'll look at these four. There's 4 columns in the footer, and we can open these, or expand them rather, to see what's in there. So let's look back quickly at the live website so we can see here. Under there it says we accept this, and here it tells us our business name and info. So let's see what we might want to change. So let's add just a little blurb under the payment section where it tells you what payment types they accept. So that's the second column here. So again, changing tabs back into our administration panel. So so let's see, we got custom HTML. It's custom HTML because it's referencing it should have images in there, or let me see how it's displaying the little. So it's using what's called font awesome. It's used in coding and in websites for displaying icons in a quick manner without having to pull them out of the media gallery as images. So these icons work a bit like fonts, where they scale and to larger sizes but keep clarity in the image basically, and they can be very small image sizes. So so that's why it's done in code, little code section, but that's fine. So we'll just go underneath and we'll just add some text underneath, and we'll say put a little asterisk, and we'll say secured by Vista SSL secure payments. That's made up, by the way. There may be a Vista SSL secure payments, but that would be a coincidence. So okay, so we could save that. Now go back to our page by changing tabs, reload the page, and it's not displaying. So this is interesting. Why isn't it displaying? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because we have what's called a caching plugin running. Now, a caching system, what it does is it creates a static page for every piece of content on your website in order to display it as fast as possible. So it's a way to speed up and optimize your website. Now, what you need to do is, if we provide a website for you and we optimize it, it'll have some form of caching plugin. Lightspeed is the typical one we use, but there are other ones as well. So you may have to look through all of your menu items and see which one is for caching and speed optimization. Lightspeed is our go-to because our hosting server platform uses a Lightspeed a web server. So that makes it nice and slick and works really well. So let's go to our caching plugin really quick, and what we're going to do is turn it off. But before I turn it off, there's one other thing we can double check to see why that wasn't displaying. It could be because our browser cache is keeping the old version because it doesn't see that as a major change. So I have in my browser the ability to clear the cache because I have, through my settings of Safari on Mac OS, allowed the developer menu to be displayed. As I am a software developer amongst other things, I do a lot of web development. So we can go in here and we can select this empty caches, okay? And now we can reload the page. And if we go down to the bottom, it's still not displaying. And I believe that is, if we go back to our administration panel, it's because we need to temporarily turn off or clear the cache of our optimization plugin here. So we'll go to that, and what we'll do is we'll go to the cache option in that submenu, and we'll go up to the top here, and it says enable cache. We'll just select off, save the changes, go back to our live page and reload it. It's still not displaying. So let's go back to our administration and do one other thing. On the left hand side under our Lightspeed cache, we're going to come down to Toolbox, and we're going to clear all these static cached files by emptying entire cache. We could purge all, but as we want it to purge the widget content, I'm not sure if that'll work. So it's better to purge all rather than everything. So let's see if the purge all works. We'll go back to our live page, reload it. So we're still not seeing that. So now let's purge everything back in the administration. So the website will load a little slow for a while, or compared to how it was, it loads slower while that caching is off. So again, I'm going to reload this page and now see if it displays. It's still not displaying. So I'm going to again empty the browser cache one more time and reload the page. And then scroll down to the footer again. And it's still not there. So now I think that I must have made a mistake. I think maybe I didn't save that, or something went wrong. So let me go back to the widget section back in the admin. So we go to find appearances in the left menu and then select widgets. Let's find our footer column number 2, expand it and scroll down, and maybe I forgot to save what I typed. So let's go in one more time and type it in again. Well, just say by Stripe payments. Save. I'm sure I clicked save last time, but I go too fast sometimes. I'm not sure. You'll know better than me watching the video. So let's reload this page one more time. Boom, now we see it down here. Okay. Now, here's the thing. If you have an issue like this where something isn't displaying, and if it is because of the caching optimization plugin, in this case Lightspeed Cache, might not have been, because I think I just didn't save the new sentence in the widget. But remember to always turn your cache back on. So if we go back to the cache submenu, always remember to turn it back on and then save the changes after making your updates. Okay, so I'm going to turn it back on right now, and we'll see if it becomes a problem again later on. Okay, so now we've looked at how to make a change to widget content. Okay, and we've used our live, more complicated website to do that. But going back to the basic install of WordPress. Okay, so you can see again this list of possible content you can add to your widget areas is much more limited. Okay, so now let's go back to the basic functionality. We've looked at the menu section. The The background you don't need to bother with. That's just basically only useful for something like like WordPress's basic themes, or something that's not really styled very much at all. And the theme editor you're not going to use. That's for web professionals, because that actually opens up a window where you can edit the actual code, and it gives you a warning here. You edit the code of your actual templating system or your template, and it's different scripting files that go with it for its functionality. And so you can totally break your website here and do a lot of damage. This is like hard coding. So so don't ever mess with this. Sometimes a web professional will go in here to either fix something in the code, or add functionality, or a styling option that isn't possible to do any other way. Now, if you're doing this in a premium purchase theme or something like that, and then there's an update that's provided later on, then whatever you customize here will be lost in that update. So again, there's better ways to update, usually with styling sheet changes in a theme options submenu, which some themes provide and some don't. Okay, so and the other way to do it is with what's called child theming. But again, you're watching these videos because you're not building sites from scratch. But unfortunately, I am a bit verbose, and when I get to a page like this, I have to give you a little knowledge about it. So basically, my advice is just please don't use it. So moving along, next section is the plugins section. You've heard me mention plugins a lot. Plugins is how you add extra functionality and complexity to your website. Now the problem is, when you build out a powerful WordPress website, your plugin list can get rather long, and sometimes the more plugins you have, the slower your website can behave, and sometimes there can be code conflicts that where you think it's all running fine, but certain things can break and not work right. So we want to use as few plugins as possible. Okay, these two come bundled with WordPress. This one here, I've met Matt Mullenweg. He's a great guy. He's the software developer who created the WordPress platform. I met him at a WordCamp in Phoenix, Arizona in 2009, I think. Anyway, so this is just a sort of silly little thing. I think it adds quotes from the song Hello Dolly to the administration area or something, but I always delete it. The Akismet anti-spam is very good, but you have to set up an account, and if you do activate this, it'll give you instructions on how to do that. And it's anti-spam for your commenting section, like I mentioned earlier. Okay, so as you can see here, there's no plugins now. There's just that one, and it's not actually doing anything. It's not active. Now, if we take a look at the other website, okay, and we look at our plugins, it's going to be scary. We see quite a long list, and we're also seeing these highlight notifications that several of them are out of date, so they need updating. Now, it's important to update them because when a plugin is out of date, there's maybe a vulnerability to a malware attack, and so it's important to update them. However, due to the complexities of a content management system, if you're not technically proficient and you come in here and you just click the upgrade button and you select all of these, you can go here, update available, and if you then check this little box to highlight them all, and then you do a bulk action to update, and then you apply. Okay, now another way to do it is if you hover over the dashboard, you'll see the updates section, and that updates section has updates not just for plugins but for the theme and for the WordPress software itself. Okay, so but if you click that apply, and then you went to your home page, it might be blank, or there might be a database error, or something else might not work, or while this is updating, it might just freeze and go to a white page, and every time you try and log in or go back, it just doesn't display anything anymore. Okay, so what I just described are actually common occurrences. So again, if you're not technically proficient and you just say, oh, there's an update, obviously it's better to have the current software, then your website may break and it may take quite a bit of work to get it running again. Now, someone like me would realize, would make a backup first prior to the update, and would realize, okay, one of these, there's a code conflict with one of these, so let's reverse them all. And I would have to, the first step might be, and the quickest thing would be to use our trusty file transfer FTP client, okay, and then log in to the remote server, and what we do is I'd delete and remove all of those plugins, and I'd replace them with the earlier version that I would have in a backup that I downloaded, okay, and then I'd reload the page, and it would usually start working again fine because those code conflicts are no longer there. So again, if you see updates available, and in fact let's go to the main updates here, usually there'll be theme updates and often WordPress updates as well when you see like a large list of plugin updates needed. So you do it from there, but and again you could select all and then update plugins. But my advice is don't ever do that on your own if you don't know what you're doing, because you can break the website. Okay. If you do, please give us a call or submit a support ticket, and we'll help you out as fast as we can. Okay. So so that's all about plugins. You're not going to use the plugin editor. That's for developers and coders. If you want to add a new plugin for a functionality, let's say you've been looking at other websites, and maybe a website has a specific type of newsletter contact form or a site reviews plugin, right? So how do we add a new plugin? Again, we're going to go to the simple view of the base install, and so again it's just like the posts and pages. You've got an add new button, and in the sub menu on the left you've got an add new link. So let's click the button, and it takes us to WordPress's plugin marketplace. Now it's not really a marketplace because it's a marketplace only for verified free plugin scripts. Okay. Now they're verified to a certain extent by the WordPress team to make sure that they don't have malware and they don't break WordPress, and they're in line with the terms of use for adding functionality under its licensing and whatnot. So you can search for a plugin. Let's say you wanted a review plugin so that customers can leave reviews, or let's say testimonial. Now you don't have to hit enter, it's automatically going to start searching as you type. Okay, so here's, let's say we like the look of this. We can see 100,000 plus active installs, so that's good. It means it must be good with that many installs combined with a 5-star rating, okay, of so many hundred people. And it was updated recently, so that's good because that means that it's actively being developed. It's not, it's a month is good. This one was updated 1 day ago again, but less people use it. The rating's not as good. Now before we install it, again we could open a page and search and find other people's comments and see how it's used on different websites. But if you just click the title, it'll give you a summary page. It'll tell you if or not it's been tested and proven to work with your version of WordPress. See, I could install this and it might break something else on the site. It might break something that displays in a way I want it to display, and I might not spot it right away. So this is telling me it's not 100% approved yet. Okay, so it also tells you what sort of, if it's got a PHP, that's software that powers the WordPress. It's a scripting language, and if it needs a newer version or things like that. So there's some technical details. You can see the number of reviews and ratings. You can read about it here. You've even got, there might be some setup tips, installation stuff, and oftentimes there'll be screenshots, so it'll show you how it'll display. Okay, and there's different display options. Okay, so if we wanted that, again we could install it. going to close this little pop-up, or we could just install it from here and then we could activate it and then we'll get another menu option. So actually let's do that now. We will install it because this is our raw WordPress without much going on. We'll activate it, and after we activate it we see there's another category on the left of post types, and it's at the top of the page because WordPress recognizes it as a custom post type, and it's testimonials. So again, we could add one, but the idea with testimonials is, you're adding legitimate customer reviews, so you want them to be adding these, and there will be ways to allow customers to write their own reviews by putting short codes into blog posts. So then you'll have a section on your web page or in a widget on the sidebar where it says please leave us a review, a testimonial or a review. Okay, so customers can submit them themselves. But also if they write one, let's say on Google for Google search or places, business map listings rather, then you could copy and paste that if you add a new testimonial. Okay, so then you're being authentic because someone really left you that review, and then you just paste what they wrote inside here with their info, not their full name ever really unless they okay it, and then you can publish that and then display it where you want on the website. Okay, so you can display it at different places using a short code within a post or a page or other post type like services or other type of page or content area. Okay, or you could put it in the widgets. So I bet if I go to the widgets section now, we may see a testimonial. Here we go, strong testimonials view, and we could drag that into our footer section. Okay, and then we could save that. Looks like it saved it right away. And so if we reload this here, again I swapped the template back, remember? So here's our testimonial section now in the footer. Now it's not displaying anything because we didn't add that testimonial that I was talking about. It was hypothetical. But if we had a bunch of testimonials, we'd be able to display them here and change the way that they look and display based on the widget settings and also the overall testimonial settings here. Okay, so when you add a plugin, you look for how it displays on the left in the menu section, and then you play around with it. Okay. So moving on, so we've looked at the post types, the appearance functionality, the plugins. So now we've got just a few things left that's built into WordPress. We've got our user management section. So let's say I want to add someone that works for me or my business, right, or a co-worker. But I don't want them to have the ability to break the website. I don't want them to be able to change the appearance. I don't want them to be able to edit, remove, or change plugins. I don't want them to be able to update software. Okay? I don't want them to see any of that information in the settings, tools, plugins, or anything like that. All I want them to be able to do is to write a new post or article or service page or a new fixed static page or a testimonial or something like that. It's only for content. Okay, so I'm going to create a new user. We'll give them a name, and it might actually be their name, or it might be a title that they go by. So let's say it's we'll just call them Blogger 12. There you go. So we'll call them Blogger 12, and we'll say Blogger 12 at ourbusiness.com, and then we'll put in their name. We don't have to, and then it usually asks us how we want them to be displayed. Oh yes, so when we're creating a new user, we can put all this information in here. So and if they've got their own website, or if they're a member of our website, that can go in there as well. Now this information may or may not display. It depends upon the settings of our WordPress install. Okay, it's going to generate a password, and it's going to send it automatically to this email. So if I click add new user, then this person is being created. So I don't want that to happen right now. But I still want to show you what it's like when we create a new user. So let's see if I've got another demo email. I think I deleted the one from the last one, but let's see. So we'll try it. I think it was email demo at demosite101.com. And here's our role. So this is very important. Now we can change this later. We can change a lot of things later, except I think the username is the only thing that can't be changed. So role, subscriber, we're not having subscribers. Businesses typically don't use that category, okay? Unless you've got a membership area where people can just view private content once they're logged in, right? Or they can view their account information for their shopping cart. Okay, so I'll give you an example of that in the more complicated website again in a moment. So, but how I see this as being really valuable is you can have someone else that's more technical than you as the overall administrator that works for you. Okay, or you can have a contributor, an author, or an editor. So a contributor, I believe, they can just create drafts. So they can create any type of content, but it's not going to be published live until it is okayed and approved by someone else in your organization that would have a higher level of access than contributor. Author does allow you to post and make content live, and I think editor allows you to go into other people's posts and content and edit them or delete them or push them into drafts so they're not displayed anymore. Okay, so an editor has overall control, but not on the technical aspects of the website. Okay, so again, depending on how comfortable you are with the person that's going to be adding content, let's say it's a temp that's working for you and you don't quite trust them yet, you don't want them to have the ability to remove your content, right? So you don't want them to be able to go into other people's posts as editor or other content sections of your website and maybe remove them. You just want them to do blog posts for you to improve search engine results, right? And interact with people maybe in the comments section. So maybe you just set this person up as a contributor, and again, or just an author. So author, I think they'd be able to interact with comments and post live content. But let's give this person editor access. And we'll just add the user. Okay, so whether this email is working or not, I don't know, but we've created this and that is in the database. So you can log in with those credentials. So you've just seen the password and you can now log in to post content to this website as an editor. Now if I click on this person's name, we can change other information about them and we can select how their name is publicly displayed. So if they're writing articles for us and the name of the author is set to display on our website, then we might not want their actual name. We might not want their username, their handle, which might be a nickname. So we can give them a specific name here, or we can choose either their real first, real last name, their full name, their username, or whatever we decide is their nickname here. So we might say it's Joe Coach. That might be his name, Joe Coach, and we are updating it. Obviously I'm a little slow with naming things. It always takes me a while, even with an example, like John Doe, whatever. So Joe Coach is the guy's name. So if he's, nickname rather, so we can select that, we can select that as being displayed. Now by selecting this, display publicly. Right? Now, let's say it's someone's name and we don't want their name to be publicly known, right? So maybe we'll give them a nickname like, I don't know, like a cool nickname, like, I don't know, this is a cool nickname, but let's say they go by Mouse. So now we'll select that, and that's what will display on everything. So it maintains their privacy, and also maybe that's their online handle. Maybe they're known as Mouse in this industry on other websites and stuff, right? Or something like that. So you get the idea. You can also give them slight different colors when they log in. So if you log in or as them by mistake, or if you create another editor account for you to declutter the user interface, so you're not seeing all this extra stuff that you're concerned about that you don't want to break, you can create this edit account just for you. And to differentiate it from the main account, you might theme it blue. Okay, so we're going to save that. We're going to update that. Okay, so now when this person or you log in as this person, your interface is going to be more blue, so you're going to know, oh, okay, this is the editor role. Okay, and right now we're seeing it all dark, so we know it's the administrator role that has full access to change technical function and break the website. Okay, so I'm going to log out and then log back in as this user, but I have to give them a new password first because I didn't note that password down. So let's grab this password, and which is a complicated password, isn't it? So we'll grab that, and let me see, did I update it? I think I updated it, but we'll just grab that, and we'll log out, and then we'll log back in as blogger12. Okay. Alright, so now you see we logged in, and it looks very different, so we know right off the bat, no mistake, we are logged in as an editor. Okay, because we know our color coding in our business. And now if we look at the menu on the left, we can see that it's limited to just the post content types. Okay, we've got the tools, there's nothing in it. We can change or modify our profile, but other than that we can't change any technical aspects of the web page. We can't even see if anything needs updating. Okay, so this is very useful for you as the business owner. If you don't want to, if you're very happy with the look and feel of your website, you don't need to tweak design or functionality, and you just want to publish content without the distractions. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing in the more complicated website as well in a moment, but first let's log out and let's log back in as the administrator. Okay, and we'll see those other areas pop back up, and I'll show you just the last couple of things, and then we will wrap. Okay, so now we log back in as administrator. Now we can see the appearance again. We can see that we've got access to the updates and plugins and technical aspects of the website. So now we've gone through all of the built-in functions except for tools and settings. So if we click on tools, again we'll see the submenus come down. I think I mentioned early on in this video that you don't need to do anything with these really. When it comes to doing backups and things like that, I will be putting some videos together in the support or knowledge base section of the website, and again much more detailed full courses I'll be putting in the business tutorial package that'll be coming out in 2021. That'll be using probably a learning management system, so you'll have some structured courses. You know, instead of maybe 1 hour or 30-minute videos, it might be shorter videos or time-stamped where you can jump ahead. Okay, so so again, this tool section you don't need to mess with, but you can do basic imports and exports of the content from the site for backups and such. But really, if you don't rely on this, because you can't rebuild your website just from doing that content dump. It just won't do it. Okay, so and then let's have a look at settings. Again, settings, once you get your website, these things you shouldn't want to mess with or need to. You know, it's about where you get your notification emails for administrative purposes. It's about whether you're using a www designation at the beginning, but again, this is configured in the cPanel in a better way when you're installing it from Softalicious, you know. And there's some other things about date formatting for posts that display the dates, like on articles or blog posts. So let's go on to the next one. So for writing, now you can configure it so that you can submit articles via email. I don't personally do that. I did at one point do that when I was personally blogging a lot or had a website where I had a blog section. But I think today it's probably easier to use maybe apps or log in through a tablet device and post content that way. But if you were to set this up where you can select what the default category that the posts go to and things like that. Okay. On the reading part, we can make sure that search engines are encouraged to. Now, when you're developing a website, usually check this box because you don't want search engines to rank the website that's either a demo website like this or in development. You just want it to start ranking when you've got the real content on. So that you might want to check, but if we set it up for you, that'll be fine. You've got some other basic stuff for what's displayed on the home page, and if it's dynamic, pulling article content or specific defined post content, blog content. It's always termed as blog content. So there's that. Discussion section is a little bit about the functionality of how comments get approved in the comments sections of posts and pages. Some stuff about resizing images. It defines what the thumbnail size is, if it's perfectly square or if it's more of a letterbox shape, things like that. And then the permalinks, like I said, is partly for search engine optimization and partly personal preference on how you want the look and feel of the site to be. So if you've got, if you're using your posts category of content, if you're not using it as a blog, like news updates, blogs, stuff like that, but you're using it for articles or documentation for your business and customers or a service section, then you're not going to want this format of your permalink because you don't want your services to be date stamped. Okay, so in that case, you're going to come down here and you're going to select this option here for post name. And what that does is it changes it. Here you go, as if you were manually creating a custom structure. So it gives you just the post name, and that keeps the address bar URL nice and neat and short, and it keeps the keywords in there for search engine optimization, and it makes it look nice for businesses. So that's the way to go, unless you are actually having, let's say you've got a news website or you've got a news blog section, and you really want to make sure that you're not fooling people with old articles, so they want to easily see, well, when was this written? And they can just look up in the address bar and say, oh, it was written in 2020 December, or maybe it was written in 2008, right? So, this is old content. They know right away. Okay, so those are the different decisions there. So we'll save this. You can also change. Again, this is maybe like a business preference or for search engines, the category name and the tag base name. So if you click on a blog post, for example, we'll go back to the live bad looking website example. And let me see, let's go to our blog post, which is the Hello World post. Oh, we are on. And then where's our little tags? There we go, tags here. So if I click on one of these tags, let's say coaching, we'll see up in the address bar in that URL path, it's got the website name and domain name, and then it's got /tag/coaching, okay? So maybe we don't want it to say tag, but we want to use a little trick for search engine optimization. So we'll go back to our admin and we'll change this to, let's say life coach. Oops. And let's say it's in a specific city. So let's say it's Chicago Life Coach. Let's say that's where we're trying to get our business search traffic. Let's say that's a primary keyword if it's a Chicago-based business. So let's save that, and let's go back to our live page, reload it, and it didn't change our base tag. Let's see if it does. If we reselect it, there we go. So if we reselect it, so now we see every time anyone clicks on a tag, and tags can get indexed by search engines, that now we're hitting these keywords in every in every piece of content. So that's a blog or news or article post, right? Or maybe that could be used for service pages. So if we use the blogging function and we're not installing custom themes and they don't have custom post types for our services, then we might have that labeled as or in the category section that might be services, right? So again, if we go back to our live page and from our top menu we select, remember this was an example of a blog type post or article or news type post, and this was an example of a page type post. Okay, so if we select this now, is this in a category is the question. No, because pages are not in categories, only posts are. So we go back to our post and we go back down to where it says categorized as coaching. So if we click on the coaching category, remember it gives us that summary and it'll list, let's say, a whole load of posts there. So we may have, it might not say Hello World, but this may say Business 101. The next one might say life coach for the new year, right? Or whatever. You might have a series of articles that help drive revenue for your business while educating customers with good, valuable information. So now we're in this category where we can see all the other posts or articles, and in our URL at the top, it's, instead of saying it category there, which doesn't really tell anyone anything, and it's not good for search engine optimization, now it says services, right? Now let's say again we want to say, well, what if we want to hit a keyword like Chicago business coaching every time someone clicks on one of our services pages that's configured under the post category. So going back, we'll now change this to Chicago business coaching, or it's Chicago business services, let's say. We'll leave it like that. We don't want it too long, and maybe we just want it much shorter than that, but we're using this as an example. So we save that page, we go back here, let's go back to our post that's in that category, and let's go back to the coaching category. And now when we look up in our URL address bar, now we can see we're hitting certain keywords, and it even kept the capitalization, which I didn't mean it to do. Okay, so now we can see that, so now we're hitting these keywords, so that's really good for our local search engine optimization, right? Okay, so that's just a little reason, going back again into these final settings, why you might want to change those there. And then let's look at the very last menu option, and that gives us now a built-in, it gives us an ability to create a privacy page, or use the built-in, or select a privacy page from our pages category. Okay, so we can create a new one or select one from something we've already published. So that's what that is. But again, you may already have that built in, or maybe not in your particular website that we created for you. That might not be there yet. Okay, so that's all of the base stuff. We also showed you how to create a user that doesn't see all the technical aspects or have access to them, because they may actually break the website. Okay, so now I think we're good on that. And I will just show you the difference here now, going back to this site. So again, let's just change something really quick. Let's say we want to modify. Well, this is mainly shopping cart stuff. So let's modify this sample page number 2, and let's add a featured image so that something displays at the top. That's all we're going to do. So again, even though we're on our busy website with all of these things going on and notifications, we'll go to our pages, and we'll look at the ones that are published, because right now there's a lot that aren't, so we'll just select published ones, and it's sample page number 2. Let's see if we can add a featured image. So we'll set a featured image here from the settings on the right. How about that one? And then let's preview how the page looks. So now we see we've got this big image at the top. Bit big, bit overpowering, but that's fine. And then, so based on this theme, it automatically takes the featured image that we select and it puts it at the top of the page. Another way to do it would have been just to go in here, shift this section down by hitting enter, and then going back up to this section and then adding something here, right? Like so we could type in image. Okay. So, and again, you've got media and text, or a gallery, image. We could embed a video, right? So you could type in video, you could embed a YouTube, Vimeo, or other type. Okay, so that's that quick change. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to close the preview panel, go back to the admin, click the update. That is done. I'm going to go back out, and I'm going to do one last thing just to show you. If this is too busy for you, logging in as administrator, and all of these notifications scare you a little bit, then all you need to do to keep it nice and clean and easy for editing content is find your users in the menu list here, users, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to add another user, editor 1. Email will be, again, email demo. And let me see, we'll just go with Mary, quite contrary, and website can be the same site. Oh, actually, it's this. Yep, that's fine. The password is good, so I'm going to copy that. And again, oops, that is not right, is it? Email. So they'll get a copy of that. We don't want them to be a subscriber. We'd like them to be now, because this has extra functionality built in, we can give someone access to be just an SEO editor. Okay, so they can log in and they won't have access to the same sorts of things as a content editor or as the overall administrator. Their focus in their menu system will be to do the search engine optimization by adding meta tags and descriptions to all of your content types, images and whatnot, and for the unified type of search results where images display as well, and summaries with little thumbnails. Like if I take this link and paste it to someone on a mobile text message, SMS, then they'll see the thumbnail, of the website. Not for all websites. It depends on what their SEO setting configurations are, whether it's manually coded or it's a plugin like this in a content management system. Okay, so again, I'm going to just copy that, make sure I got it. I'm going to make this person an editor, and going to add the user. Okay, we're going to log out and then log back in again. And that looks so much cleaner, right? So now I'm logged in as the editor. I don't have the ability to change again any technical aspects. I don't have the access to the SEO functionality, although there is part of that SEO functionality displays on every post content type. So if I go to a page, and if I go back to that sample page number 2. Okay, this is the first time I've logged in as my new account as editor, so it's given me a little description on how to use the block writing features of WordPress. Okay, so I'll just close that down. And if we scroll down, we'll see if the SEO aspects are there. So this uses a plugin called Yoast SEO. It's very well reviewed. I've used it before. It is a bit complicated. So here's what we can see. So without SEO optimization, with a plugin like this one, if I was to take this a copy, if I was to text message someone a link to the website, let's say on an iPhone, they wouldn't see this bottom piece, or in a WhatsApp message, or in a Facebook post, or anywhere in social media, or on Twitter, right? All they're going to see is this. They're going to see this little icon that's called the fav icon, and they're going to see the URL link and the page title, and underneath it they're not going to see anything. That's where it's going to cut off. Okay, so if I'm on social media, or if I'm busy and I look at my phone and someone texts me a link without that little thumbnail and description, because they don't have the SEO plugin, I'm a lot less likely to click that link, right? I don't know if it's interesting to me, and I'm busy, and then I can see the little preview. It's also going to display that way in search, and like I said, across the board on social media. So it's really good to use SEO optimization. Now it takes time to learn these tools. It's expensive when you pay professionals. So we do the best we can for our business, the time and resources we have available. Okay, but definitely that is useful to have set up and working. Okay, to say the least. So so you can have basic access to that, even though you can't control the overall settings for the SEO plugin. Okay, so and it gives you, this plugin gives you a little bit of an analysis here. It tells you like it's not really working very good right now. So we can we can address some of these things that it's telling us, and make some minor changes from within this bottom section. And if we scroll back up, now what we used to have is, again, one of these little drop downs that would allow us to display extra functionality, like certain extra page things, but now it's on the top right in this little options button. So if we go to this options button, and again I think it's preferences, we can make sure that everything is displayed on the screen that we want. And you'll notice there's this other little icon here. This is additional functionality from this Yoast SEO plugin. And right now I'm not recommending this particular plugin. I haven't used it in years, and it's changed a lot. Like I said, it's highly well reviewed, but I can't personally recommend it right now because I've not used it. So I can't say if it's good one way or the other, but I think it's good. I think it may be a little complicated for some people. But let's click on it and see what options it gives us. So it gives us some good feedback with some, it looks like links that take us to their website, where it explains what this means and how to fix it, and it probably gives us some sort of upsell so that we can purchase the pro version, right? Tells us what's good, and so that's all giving us feedback about it with advice on what to do. We can, so this is to add related key phrases. Again, that's a premium feature, so that's an upgrade. We can see what comes up in a Google result, so that's really nice. The mobile result, the desktop one. Okay, and again, we can change certain things here, page title, slug, or whatever, and descriptor for the meta tags. So like this descriptor, it's pulling from the page content, but it's not. It's saying please provide a meta description by editing the snippet below. So so what we'd want to do is type in whatever it is. So let's say this is a shopping website for cosmetics, clothes. Let's say it's primarily for women, although there were other stuff on there as well. But it looked like prams, or babies' push carts, and clothes and perfumes, and also some weights. So we'll just say shop now at whatever this shop is, demo site. items. so whatever, and then again, like you want to hit certain keywords. Let's say it's a Chicago business, Chicago sale. Oops, sale now on. Right, so you might have things like that, right? And then let me see, is that automatically saving it? I think so. Let's go back down here and see. Yes, it did. Okay, so now let's so we can update that page. So there you go. So we've seen how even if you're not logged in as with all the full access and rights for configuring the technical aspects, you can still do your SEO on a per page post basis. But also we can see how it keeps your login screen, your administration area so nice and clean and tidy, so that you're just focused on creating content rather than all of the functionality and software updates and all of that aspect. Okay, although it could give you a false sense of security looking at this, that all of your software is up to date and there's no potential malware vulnerabilities. Okay, now today's date, as you can see on my screen, is December 16th. It's the middle of the night. I often work late, and there's been some news over the last few days, over the last week, that there was some huge hacks coming out of Russia, affecting where government computer networks and public systems, and also major tech platforms operated by Google and other tech giants were all hacked, compromised. We don't really know the full extent of it. So that does happen to the most secure systems. Now, small businesses are not targeted. They're not, but they're not directly targeted, right? However, they're a low level of interest to the bad people, but there's a lot of automated. Most attacks are automated, and that means that there is pieces of software that are just spread around the internet that scrape public data. So if you have a website, that's all public data. It's out there. Anyone can access different aspects of it, and they can write software that will probe it for vulnerabilities in the software that powers it all. So that's how websites get hacked. It's how data gets compromised. It's how things get websites get taken down or broken and things like that. So again, someone needs to log in on a regular basis to make sure that the updates, notifications of outdated software are seen, so that it can be updated and maintained, just like maintaining a car. So again, that goes back, I think if we go back to this other screen, it goes back to in our documentation, this section here that talks about maintenance and website tune-ups and the importance of it, especially like in this notice towards the end of the document. Okay, so again, this is I'm not trying to upsell. I don't personally, or Tekie doesn't really at this point want to be doing the maintenance work, but however, we can do it really, really well and at a fair price, and I'd rather that we did it for you than your website is sitting there as time goes by and it becomes vital to your business, and yet it's not updated in the correct fashion. Okay, so we certainly will and can do that for you. And what I will be doing is putting together a series of videos as well as time permits, and it might be in the paid section or it might be free in the knowledge base, that will show you how to do this this maintenance. Whether you do it, depending on how frequently you use your website and how often you log in. So it should either be done on a monthly basis, a quarterly basis, every 6 months, or once a year. Once a year is the longest you should leave it. I think quarterly is good, actually, for doing a tune-up and maintenance, and that means performing backups and software updates. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. Again, please reference your documentation. So we've covered these topics, I believe, and again, keep an eye out for more tutorial videos, and we'll notify all of our customers as more free tutorial videos get pushed to the knowledge base and documentation section. So thanks again for watching, and we wish you the best of success with your business, and please contact us through support if you need anything from us. Thank you very much.